Thought people would want to watch the world's worst plumber. Back at it again in the bathroom. Another evening trying to get some of this plumbing wrapped up. Have made some decisions regarding this shower and how that's going to tie in. And since the last time I was in here and today, I also went to Lowe's again and bought some new parts. So I got a new 90 that will go at the bottom of this drain. This one's just a long sweep 90 rather than a regular because I have the space, so that'll help things flow a little bit better. And then I bought this 3-to-2 combo Y for the shower drain. I was originally gonna tie in to the shower drain to the old bath drain. That's another piece of cast iron that comes off back in there. But I decided that while I'm throwing this new PVC in, it'll be better if I just tie in right here at the end of this PVC run, and then I can just cap off the old cast iron entirely and abandon that 2-foot stretch or so. I might cut it back now that I know I'm not going to use it. I left it kind of sticking long because I thought I was going to tie on to it, but I just don't think it's worth it. This will give me a little bit more peace of mind that, we're not going to have a weird clog or, back up in that drain and then have to snake it. And I don't know. It's just 70-year-old plumbing that's just not worth reusing, in my opinion. So especially since I'm here doing this anyway. So I bought this combo, which is going to sit just like this on the end of this line, something like that. And then from there, I'll have to take another, I didn't buy all the right fittings because this will get tied in when I actually have the linear drain in here for the shower drain. So this doesn't need to happen right now, but basically it'll come in something like that. And then I'll have a P-trap that'll sit right about here and then come up and connect to the drain somewhere in this general vicinity. That's the idea, at least. So while I'm doing this main drain line, I'm going to put this piece in here at the end. Just put a short piece of 2-inch on here, and I bought some test caps. I've actually never used these test caps before, but I read about them a little bit, and they cost less than $1, and you can glue them straight into pipe. So that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to glue this straight into a little stub of a 2-inch, and then when I'm ready to actually tie this in, I'll just cut this off. They say to knock out the plug, but so maybe I'll try it, but I'm planning to just cut it off. I'll just run this an extra couple inches long, cut the end of the pipe off when I need to tie in shower drain. And I want to do that because I don't want sewer gas. Obviously, we're not going to have a trap on here yet, so all that sewer smell and gases could come up and out of this because this isn't tied into anything yet. But I want to have it in that line while I'm doing the rest of this. So swap that around, glue it in here, glue it onto the end of this pipe. It's going to shift this pipe back a little bit, so markings and measurements and stuff, all that good stuff I did down there is now going to be wrong. And then I will tie in here. Got my sanity, and I bought an 1.5-inch test cap also, so that I can come up with my sanity, stick this on the end. It'll be like, well, this, and then 1.5 inch into here. I did check the specs of the vanity that we're going to use, and it doesn't have a back panel, so I'm going to stick this as close to that wall as I possibly can. And then I'll have a little stub of 1.5 inch come out, and I'll cap it just like that. And then same thing that I'm going to do over there. I'll just knock the plug out or cut the end off when I'm ready to put in my adapter to accept vanity drain and trap on this side. That's the grand plumbing plan. And we'll see if I can get this all glued tonight. I tend to take these super slow because I really don't want to glue it wrong and then have to cut it apart and buy new fittings and yada, yada, yada. So I think that's one of the traps I tend to fall into is I like hyper focus on getting it right the first time, and I spend more time hyper focusing on it rather than had I just done it. And if I made a mistake, just correct my mistake. Probably would have been faster all said and done, but I don't know. That's part of my process, I guess, and something I'm working on, paying closer attention to how much time I'm spending. Nothing will get done if I keep talking to you guys. So I'm going to hop down there and get to gluing and see if I can piece together this grand old puzzle. I got this first part in, got real stupid towards the end. I was trying to kind of make this always stay at the right slope I want this way. My fear was that once I get working kind of on the back end of this pipe, if this rotates down, then I'm gonna have a bad time. And then again, it's kind of part of what I talked about, like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal if it did get rotated down and I made a mistake. Have to cut it, put this fitting in that I already have right here and rotate it back and it'd be totally fine. But I'm like spending 20 minutes trying to like secure this thing so it really can't move, but whatever. Moving on. I thought about just tying it in right now, but I really don't want to work in sewer gas, so I'm trying to like tie it in at the last possible moment. So that's gonna go right on there. I think it's probably gonna have to go like that. That's the old pipe that I was gonna use. I'm gonna use this one instead. Anyhow, I'm gonna shift my attention back there and see if I can get the end of this pipe cut at the right spot and my other Y on there coming down to catch my 2-inch. Alright, I decided I need to stop being a ninny and just get down in the trenches. Because working from the top side is just not doing it for me. So, see if I can get you guys a good angle. There's not a lot of space down in here, but basically this cut was kind of dookie because I couldn't see what I was doing. So, I'm going to try and clean that up a little bit and then glue my Y on and then get these pipes all connected. Oh boy. Ah! I don't have the fitting. This is going excellent so far. Okay, worried a lot about getting that right down there, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. Okay, so yeah, let's just frickin' send it. And of course my frickin' stopper. Oh my god. Got it. It's getting late in the day and I'm kind of done doing this, but I don't really want to come back down here tomorrow if I can avoid it. my laser eye down there again. I'm really paranoid about that for some reason. I'm sure I'm doing way too much glue on here, but can you have too much glue? Especially when you don't really know what you're doing. And come on, Dolly. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna go for it. Okay, I said it. I'd want to be a plumber. More plumbing I'm doing. Regretting that statement. Respect to all the plumbers. Sheesh. It's like weirdly, like mentally challenging and physically challenging at the same time. Okay, enough yapping. Stinky. Shit. Come on, buddy. I think I'm happy with that. Jeez, my neck. Okay, now here's the problem. If I connect that in, I'm not going to be able to get my little piece in down there. So I probably shouldn't do this one quite yet. Probably just should have put my stupid piece in down there, but what do I do? What do I do? Goodness. Do I give up? No, he doesn't give up. Shit. My little 3 printed donuts aren't really working for me all that well. Oh, my light's dying. Awesome. Okay. Let's get the measurement. Cut this piece. Wish I had my freaking tape. Maybe we just stick these guys together right now. Up on the top side. Because they're not going to change. I don't freaking know. Should I hired a plumber? I'm this close to giving up. Coming back tomorrow. I don't want to come back tomorrow. Okay. Alright, here's my plan. I'm gonna glue this in, I'm gonna glue that, I'm gonna glue this, and I'm gonna be done. I'm not gonna glue him, not gonna glue him, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow. Fresh eyes, fresh motivation. Make sure we're still running uphill here. Sorry, Katie, this is a long video. I'm sure you have to watch it edit. My bad. Just couldn't really be bothered to, deprive any viewer of all the fun I'm having. Thought people would want to watch the world's worst plumber. Dude, these plumbers must have necks of frickin' steel. She ain't perfect, but she'll do. Okay. Sheesh. We're gonna call it there. We'll be back at it another day. Let me crawl out of this hole.
1 week later.
Welcome back to another day in the bathroom. For you guys, it's probably only been, a couple seconds, but for me, it's been just about a full week. I haven't been in here. A couple reasons. One, we had a different plumbing issue across the house that I got to resolve over a couple days in the crawl space, so that was a lot of fun. And I took a bit of a pause on this project to consult the friendly people of the internet in Ask a Plumber on Reddit. So shout out to the people out there on that subreddit who reviewed my plumbing layout and plan and gave me a little bit of extra confidence that, yes, I'm doing it correctly and my understanding of the Florida Code book is accurate. This is a wet vented system, so things are a little bit more complicated than normal, and I just wanted to make sure before I glue all this stuff in permanently and glue the floor down, and the only way to access it would be through that little hole in the crawl space over here, that I had things right and proper. With that little bit of a break and pause, I'm confident that what I'm doing here is by the book, because I am obviously not a plumber. Today's goal is to get all this permanently tied in. I may stop this stack that comes up, wait to put the little, what is this, sanity in here and connect this drain all together. And I'll probably just put a cap on top of this. I think I bought a 2-inch just rubber fern coat so I can plug this off so that we don't get smells up through here. But I'll probably wait to put that in because I want to make sure I know exactly the height that I want it at, because the vanity will go here and that height is going to be critical on that pipe for all this to drain in appropriately. So I haven't done my number crunching on that quite yet, so I'll probably just leave it there. But I want to make sure this is glued in. I want to get the toilet closet flange secured and in. These two need to be glued to the main horizontal drain down there, and then I want to tie it in to this stack. So that's kind of the goal for today. Kind of in preparation over the last couple of days, I built this little spacer donut, which will go right on here just like that, and then the closet flange will sit on top of that, and that's just to give me a little bit of extra height for the uncoupling membrane that's going to go down here first, and then the mortar and tile that'll go here, so that ideally this ends up about flush with the finished floor. That's the idea. So that's why I built that little spacer. So I'll go ahead and start measuring this height, get this cut to length. This one I'm not going to cut to length, and then I'll go ahead and throw on my respirator so I don't have to smell this stuff, get down there and work on tying this stuff in. That's the plan. That's a lot of yapping. I'm kind of stalling, just getting going this evening. Yeah, we'll start there and see how it goes. Got the piece cut. I'll go under the toilet flange. I've got some screws to screw down. I think I'm all set and ready to go. I think I just need to stop stalling and open up this poo pipe. Get to plumbing. Honestly, so much respect for these plumbers. That after this week, I had to unclog a drain, stink a drain, and it was nasty. And I feel like it's just my karma for saying last week that if I was going to be in the trades, I'd be a plumber. I still kind of like it, but dang, you got to be pretty tough to deal with this stuff. All right, enough stalling. I'm going to protect my silly little nose because I'm sure it's going to smell horrendous. All right, it's so nasty that pipe won't fit in there. All right, I gotta get a screwdriver or something to chip away the crud. That is seriously nasty. What I saw was this drain that I was going to use, dumping in here, it's like half full of sludge, and it had like I don't know what you call it, stalagmite coming out in there. That was gross, but now I can tie those in. So I'm going to double check my slope over there. If you can't tell, I'm kind of paranoid about the slope thing, because that's like, probably one of the most critical, is one of the most critical things with a plumbing system. So I'm a little worried that I'm not going to get that right, but that's why I'm checking it like a million times. I'm going to try and pull this side up as much as I can to get a little bit more slope. I didn't want to cut out this beam, so that's just kind of how it ended up. But on the other side, now that this is tied in, I can kind of wrench this up a little bit. Well, in classic amateur fashion, nothing goes according to plan. So what I should have done this whole time is just started over there. and worked my way this way. But because I didn't want to cut into the stinky pipe and then work in the smell, which doesn't even really smell, so that was a fool's errand. I put all this together and then was just going to connect it into the end. Well, what I failed to realize is that this fitting that I used sticks out like an extra, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches off the face of where that was. So I had this whole thing shoved a little bit further that way. When I did all my layouts and everything, now that I have that in and connected, you probably can't quite tell. It looks pretty lined up through the camera, but this is off. This one's, you can kind of tell even more. And I think what happened is, yeah, everything's just pushed an extra inch this way. So I went out to the garage. I did find I have a 2-inch coupler. I was going to cut that off, move it back. And then I noticed this one's off too, which makes sense where the whole thing's off. So instead, I think I'm going to take 3-inch coupler and I'm going to cut this pipe, cut 1 inch out of it, install that. Hopefully slide everything back, and then those will line up again. I didn't really want an interrupted run in there, but it really shouldn't make any difference. Hopefully I can just cut those nice and straight, and it shouldn't matter. Just kind of stupid. I knew that was going to be, well, I thought that could be a problem with how I was doing this, and I think it's just another lesson that put your big boy pants on and work in the stink if you got to work in the stink, instead of try and do this roundabout rigmarole. And I've never seen a plumber do that. I've never watched people online that are good at plumbing do what I just did, so there's probably a good reason for it, and this is probably it. So anyhow, enough yapping. As per usual, that was way more difficult than I anticipated it to be. This stupid inch that I screwed up. But I'm overall very happy with, I think, the end result. Basically, we've got just a little splice right there, but really it's stayed nice and straight. Just a little jog, and then still have a clamp in here, but of course couldn't get these nails in to save my life because I can't swing in here and smash my fingers, so that was awesome. This one's nice and seated well. So is our drain pipe back there. So the only thing I'm kind of kicking myself is that's the outside outlet, and I should have ran the wire before I made it harder on myself, but whatever. Problem for tomorrow, Evan. I still have my clamp in there. I had it in there to support when I push down on this pipe coming in, but that looks like it's seated really nice and well. Took about twice as long as I expected, but we're in. That's all connected up. The shower stub is just there that I'll need to tie in once we get the shower in here. Otherwise, it's all well supported. That's it. One step closer. That's all we can do. One step at a time.